Taehyung steals the moment. His calm airport aura leaves ARMY emotional, a new BTS era begins. Hello ARMY, welcome back to the BTS fans channel. That morning, March 22, 2026, the world had not fully awakened from a dream that felt too beautiful to be real. A dream where 7 names, once scattered by time, responsibility, and personal paths, finally stood together again under one sky, on one stage. A moment that didn't feel scripted, didn't feel planned, but somehow felt destined. And yet, as the sun slowly rose over Incheon International Airport, it became clear. That moment was not the end. It was only the beginning, all over again. The atmosphere at the airport that morning felt unusually heavy, yet not in a way that burdened the heart. It was something else. Something unspoken. Something almost electric. People who had no idea what was happening, suddenly stopped walking. Passengers paused mid-step. Conversations softened. And then, almost instinctively, thousands of eyes turned in the same direction. Because deep down, everyone could feel it. Something was about to happen. Something only one name could create. BTS. And then they appeared. 7 figures, walking side by side, not rushed, not staged, just moving forward together, as if the world around them had quietly adjusted to their presence. But even among them, there was one presence that felt different. Not louder. Not more dramatic. But somehow, deeper. Taehyung. There was no need for grand gestures. No need for attention. Because attention found him, naturally. Like gravity. Like something inevitable. His steps were calm, steady, almost unhurried. As if he wasn't walking through an airport, but through a moment that he fully understood, fully embraced. His outfit was simple, effortlessly put together, without trying too hard. And yet, that simplicity became his strongest statement. Because Taehyung has never needed excess to stand out. He simply exists. And somehow, that is more powerful than anything else. Up close, there were traces of fatigue on his face. The kind that lingers after a night filled with overwhelming energy, emotion, and meaning. But beneath that, there was something else. A quiet glow. A sense of fulfillment. Because what happened the night before at Gwangwamun wasn't just a performance. It was a reunion. A statement. A moment where time, distance, and silence were finally broken. And Taehyung. He didn't just take part in that moment. He felt it. You could see it in the way he carried himself now. There was no rush. No tension. Only presence. And for the fans who stood there, watching, waiting, hoping. That presence meant everything. Some covered their mouths, trying to hold back emotions that felt too overwhelming. Others simply froze, unable to believe that the person they had missed, supported, and waited for, was now right there, just a few steps away. Cameras lifted almost instantly. But even through screens, something about Taehyung felt different. Because he didn't feel distant. He didn't feel untouchable. He felt real. Every now and then, he turned his head slightly, acknowledging the fans with a soft, genuine smile. Not exaggerated. Not performed. Just natural. And somehow, that small smile carried more meaning than words ever could. Because it felt like recognition. Like gratitude. Like a quiet conversation between him and the people who had never left his side, even during the quietest moments of his journey. But perhaps the most noticeable change was something you couldn't capture in a photo. Taehyung felt calmer. More grounded. More whole. The time away from the spotlight hadn't dimmed him. If anything, it refined him. There was a depth now, a quiet confidence that didn't need validation. A strength that didn't need to be proven. He wasn't trying to shine. And yet, he was impossible to ignore. Because this version of Taehyung wasn't just an artist. He was a story still unfolding. A presence shaped by time, growth, and everything in between. As the group continued walking, surrounded by security and the soft chaos of the airport, there was one small moment that many could have easily missed. Taehyung slowed down. Just slightly. Then turned his head, glancing back. Not at the cameras. Not at the crowd. But at the members. Making sure they were all there. Still together. 7. It lasted only a second. But for those who noticed, it meant everything. Because in that small gesture was a quiet truth. No matter how far they go, no matter how much they grow, they never stop being a group. They never stop being BTS. And Taehyung, in his own silent way, helps hold that together. Not loudly, not visibly, but deeply. As they approached the departure gate, the energy began to shift. It became heavier, more emotional, because everyone knew this was the moment before distance returned again. Fans couldn't follow any further. They could only watch, hold on to the moment, and try to memorize every detail before it slipped away. And once again, Taehyung did something simple. He raised his hand. A soft wave. Short, gentle, but filled with meaning. It wasn't just a goodbye. It felt like a promise. A quiet reassurance that said, "We'll come back." And in that moment, no one needed words. Because everyone understood. As the plane finally lifted off the ground, disappearing into the wide, endless sky, the airport slowly returned to normal. People resumed walking. Voices returned. The world moved on. But something lingered. A feeling. An energy. A memory that refused to fade. And much of that feeling came from one person who didn't try to stand out, but did anyway. Taehyung. Because he doesn't chase attention. He doesn't force moments. He simply lives in them. And somehow, that's what makes them unforgettable. The world is now waiting for the next stage, the next performance, the next moment where everything slows down, and the noise of the world fades, just by his presence alone. There is a quiet anticipation in the air. Not the loud kind. Not the kind that demands attention. But something softer, deeper, almost unspoken. Because when Taehyung steps into that space, he doesn't just perform. He transforms it. And in this new chapter of BTS, where time, growth, and distance have reshaped everything, there's a feeling that something has changed. Not lost, but evolved. Something more grounded. More intentional. More real. And in the middle of that evolution, Taehyung stands in a way that feels both familiar and entirely new. One thing is certain. Taehyung is not just part of the story. He is one of the reasons. The story continues to move forward. To breathe. To resonate in ways that words can barely capture. Because what he brings isn't just talent. It isn't just presence. It's emotion, layered and quiet, yet powerful enough to fill an entire stage without a single word. It's the way he holds a moment and makes it feel like it belongs to everyone watching. The way a single glance, a single movement, can stay with people long after the lights go down. And that's why, with every next stage, every next performance, every next chapter that unfolds, the story doesn't just continue. It deepens. It becomes stronger, more intimate, more meaningful than ever before. Because Taehyung, in his own quiet, undeniable way, doesn't just exist within the story. He keeps it alive,